Well, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele says President Muhammadu Buhari to unveil redesigned Naira notes on Wednesday. And Senate summons Finance Minister over 206 billion naira in humanitarian ministry's budget. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has announced that President Muhammadu Buhari will on Wednesday unveil the newly designed Naira notes. Now, according to Emefiele, disclosed this in Abuja during the Monetary Policy Committee meeting on Tuesday. The newly designed Naira notes to be unveiled are 1,000 Naira, 500 and 200 Naira notes. According to the governor, the CBN won't shift its deadline for all old notes to be returned to commercial banks in exchange for newly designed ones. Emefiele had on October 26, 2022, said the Apex Bank will issue redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes effective December 15, 2022, while the new and existing currencies will remain legal tender and circulate together until January 31, 2023. The Senate has summoned the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, to explain an allocation of 206 billion naira inserted into the 2023 budget of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The Senate, through its Committee on Special Duties, asked that Ahmed appear before it with details and plans for the allocation made despite the country's dwindling revenue and struggling economy. A member of the panel, Elisha Abo, lamented how the committee had to summon the finance minister days ago when the lawmakers considered the budgets of the Ministry of Health and Primary Health Care. On her part, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Farouk, denied knowledge of how the 206 billion naira was inserted into a ministry's 2023 budget by the Ministry of Finance.
For the 2022, which was not released, and we said part of it is for the NAPS budget and part for the NDC. The money was not released, and now we have seen it reoccurring by almost 10 folds, and we're going to also clarify from the Federal Ministry of Finance to know why this increase, despite the fact that the previous year the money was not even released for the budget. So we'll get the details and then send to you on that. And then I think the upscaling of the last project, I assume this there are those projects under the National Social Safety Net, the conditional cash transfer, the updating of the National Social Register, and the RRR Rapid Response Register as well, pushing the effect of inflation. But this is all I can say for this. I cannot really give full details of how this amount is going to be utilized, because it's something that was negotiated between the Federal Ministry of Finance and the World Bank. So this is just what I can say to this, and it's under the National Social.
We cannot continue to borrow money and plunge this country into debt for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to come and pay without investing in what they will see. Chairman, I want to move a motion that the Minister of Finance should appear before this committee to furnish this committee with the full details of what they intend to do with 206 billion naira in 2023 budget. Now that the minister has said that she is not in charge of negotiation, of course she is not. The Minister of Finance is. We invite the Minister of Finance to appear before this committee so that she'll tell this committee what they intend to do with this 206 billion naira in 2023. So I so move.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, a prominent Tinubu Shetima support group in Kogi State has organized a 1 million man march to showcase the political strength of the APC presidential candidates Bola Tinubu in the region. The group Team Gamji for Asiwaju says it is important that Nigerians understand the need to vote for the APC in the presidential election, as it will put the country on the path of economic growth and development. The chairman of Gamji Coalition for Asiwaju, who led the work, said the campaign for the actualization of the Tinubu-Shettima presidential ticket is also working across the country to complement the efforts of the APC Presidential Campaign Council.
The difference is clear, and I've told you before, you can see the enthusiasm, the commitment, the love of the people. This is my senatorial district. From here, we're going to go to the Kogi West and then the Kogi East. As the chairman, I'll make sure that I replicate what we are doing today in all the senatorial districts to ensure that at least, if not 80% of the vote strength of Kogi State, we gather it for APC and for Asiwaju.
We need to show our support, we need to show our solidarity to our patron that Team Gamji is ready and ready to work for the success of the election of Asiwaju, Ahmed Bola Tinubu and Shettima.
Nigerians should be expecting more development. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is already known for putting a square peg in a square hole. He's already known for putting qualified people in the right places.
In the past 1 year, Nigeria's maritime sector has achieved some enviable strides, such as curbing piracy on its waterways and on the Gulf of Guinea. But there's still a lot to be achieved. To this end, industry players at the Nigeria International Maritime Summit have agreed that strategic collaboration among stakeholders, as well as financing technological innovations, is crucial to harnessing potentials of the blue economy. Speaking at the Nigeria International Maritime Summit, the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, disclosed that since the commissioning of the Deep Blue project in 2021, Nigeria has not recorded a single incident of piracy. More details in this report.
With a potential to generate 7 trillion naira in revenue annually and create not less than 4 million jobs in the next 5 years, it has become imperative to deliberate on ways to harness the opportunities in Nigeria's maritime sector. Dubbed the Blue Economy, the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, while speaking at the Nigeria International Maritime Summit, identified sustainable financial models as a key to building maritime infrastructure and assets.
Sustainable financing models are therefore important to build critical maritime assets such as shipyards and ports across the country. Similarly, the discussions within the global community on the need to reshape the way the shipping industry operates in the face of current and future challenges ranging from a changing climate and the need for rapid decarbonization by 2050 cannot be overemphasized.
Also speaking at the event, the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, Kitak Lim, praised the regional governments in West Africa, particularly the Nigerian Navy, for eradicating piracy and armed robbery on the Gulf of Guinea. He also reiterated the commitment of the international community to support developing countries in capacity building, safety, cybersecurity, as well as increased collaboration in reducing carbonization.
To embrace the benefits of new technologies in a considered way, including addressing safety, cyber security risks, and impacts on the environment and on personnel, both on board and ashore. In this regard, I'm pleased that IMO and the Nigerian government has worked together to develop a port community system for electronic data exchange for its ports.
The ravaging effects of climate change have ignited conversations on the need for decarbonization and greenhouse gas emissions in shipping. Industry experts and policy shapers in the maritime sector gave insights into some of the strategies adopted so far to reduce carbon emissions in the maritime sector.
Looking at the efficiency of the port, where there should be a reduction in waiting time. Waiting time before coming in, waiting time when you are alongside the bat. And these are also some of the cardinal points that need to be looked at. In other places in the world, this efficiency is done very well.
When they arrive at our ports, there should be monitoring and well documented their usage of infected, let me use the word infected, AGO. But to find out that we don't have the technology, which is very expensive, and we all know that the so-called industrialized nation, the last thing they will do is to share their technology with you.
The blue economy has become essential to securing a sustainable and efficient shipping industry and to also give momentum to the global economic trade in a safe, secure and sustainable manner. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News.
In furtherance of the Nigeria-China bilateral relations, the Chinese community in Lagos has commissioned the newly renovated blocks of classrooms at the FOA Primary School in Okokomaiko, Lagos. The renovated buildings, which are fully funded by the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Lagos, was unveiled on Tuesday. At the unveiling of the renovated facility, the Chinese consulate also donated a brand new generator set, standing fans, and announced the construction of a new borehole system for the school. Our correspondent, Simisola Adigun, has details in this report.
This is the first renovation project of FOA Primary School, Okokomaiko, in the last 12 years. All 23 classrooms in the school have now been fully refurbished thanks to the Chinese community in Lagos. The renovated school building now has a new roofing, with its doors and windows replaced, while 700 chairs and tables have also been provided. The project also includes the construction of a new block of 6 classrooms and a security post. Speaking at the unveiling ceremony, the Deputy Consul General of the People's Republic of China, Zheng Mingyu, said the project was a way of giving back to their host community.
我想其中一个重要的因素是因为我们非常重视教育。
China opened its door to the outside world and developed opening and reform policies. China invested very heavily in education. That's why we made, over the past 4 decades, remarkable progress in every aspect. We feel the same needs as required by the primary school, and we contribute to the renovation of this primary school. And in the future, we will continue to support the renovation project of this school.
Also speaking at the event, the chairman of the Huaxing Arts Troupe in Nigeria, Eric Ni, said the renovation project is part of efforts aimed at improving the good relationship between Nigeria and China.
This new environment will help students to develop the good character that will enable them to prosper in the studies and help them to build the communities.
Side attractions at the event included troupe performances by both cultures. Students were also given scholarships to help fund their education. In his speech, the chairman of IBA LCDA and an ex-student of the school, Abiola Yisa, thanked the Chinese community for improving the learning atmosphere of the school for the students.
This is another bedrock for you to have a good atmosphere of learning. Maintain it. I know you cannot maintain it without the instruction of the teachers and the head teachers. I want us to just look at it very well. Look at the way it was before and look at how it is today. And I want you to maintain it.
Other school activities funded by the Chinese community in Nigeria also include the Nigeria and China Cultural Exchange, an on-site program where students are taught basic norms and values of both cultures. Simisola Adigun, TV360, Lagos.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Central Bank of Nigeria raises interest rate to 16.5%. Details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has announced that President Muhammadu Buhari will on Wednesday unveil the newly designed Naira notes. Emefiele disclosed this in Abuja during the Monetary Policy Committee monthly meeting on Tuesday. The newly designed Naira notes to be unveiled are 1,500 and 200 Naira notes. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Beijing says it is facing its most severe COVID-19 test yet after it saw the country's first coronavirus deaths in 6 months and cases continue to soar. 3 deaths have been reported in the Chinese capital since Saturday, bringing the country's official death toll to 5,229. The latest fatalities have plunged part of the city home to more than 21 million back into lockdown. The deaths come amid rare protests over China's zero COVID-19 policy. The controversial strategy, which aims to eradicate outbreaks, has seen millions locked down and citizens who have tested positive for the virus forcibly quarantined. The federal government says it will soon lift more COVID-19 restrictions to relieve Nigerians, especially travelers, of some stress. This was disclosed by the National Coordinator and Technical Head of Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Mukhtar Mohammed, during a televised interview. Mohammed also said despite the decrease in hospitalization and mortality rate, the risk to contract COVID-19 is still there, hence the need not to rush the lifting of restrictions. We'll take another breather and return with more stories and business. Do stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Abisola Device and stand by with more stories and business. Over to you, Abisola.
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday flagged off the Komani Integrated Development Project in the Northeast, the first of its kind in the zone. Buhari said the oil exploration at the Komani River located between Gombe and Bauchi states has already attracted over $3 million foreign direct investment and will boost Nigeria's fortunes and earnings. The first phase of the project is expected to entail an in-situ oil refinery with a capacity of up to 120,000 barrels per day, a gas processing plant of up to 500 million standard cubic feet per day, a power plant of up to 300 megawatts capacity, and a fertilizer plant of 2,500 tons per day. The NNPC had in 2019 announced the discovery of the crude oil in the Komani River region at the border community between Bauchi and Gombe states. The Policy Setting Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has raised the monetary policy rate, which measures interest rate, from 15.1% to 16.5% to tame rising inflation. Addressing journalists on Tuesday after the committee's meeting at the CBN headquarters in Abuja, Godwin Emefiele, the governor of the Apex Bank, said the hike in interest rate would continue to help tame rising inflation. The committee also retained the cash reserve ratio at 32.5% and retained the liquidity ratio at 30%. According to Emefiele, at this time of high inflation, loosening the rate would greatly jeopardize the gains of previous policy rate hikes. Well, to speak more about this development, Richard Akimoladun, economic expert, joins me now on the news. Thank you very much for joining us on the news. Let me start by asking, the CBN has raised the monetary policy rate a couple of times this year. Do you see the rise from 15.1% to 16.5% taming the rising inflation?
If you look at what's happening in the global economy, that is what everybody is trying to actually tame the inflation that is still rising. If you look at last inflation figures at 1.09, the CBN is in line with what is expected, and they've increased that by 100 basis points.
Right, Richard Akimoladun, economic expert, thank you so much for your contribution on the news, even though the internet could not, allow us hear you well. Moving on, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's equities market continued its upward momentum on Tuesday, despite the fact that the Monetary Policy Committee, after a two-day meeting, raised its benchmark interest rate by 100 basis points to 16.5%. The stock market rose by 0.06% at the close of trading to close at 44,929 basis points, and investors gained a total of 145 billion naira during trading today, pushing the market capitalization to 24.48 trillion naira. Moving on to our top gainers for today, UPD Crate, an international brewery, led 15 other stocks to lead the gainers list of the day. Meanwhile, our top losers on the flip side, RT Briscoe and Presco, led that counter. Our market summary, however, sees a total volume of 126 million units of shares valued at 3.8 billion naira, exchanging hands in 3,383 deals. According to the Apex Bank, the MPC's decision to further hike MPR was in consideration of the persistent rise in the inflation rate and fragile economic growth. Hopefully, that would also not affect the market to stop its upward trend for the week. Moving on to the foreign scene, that's the FTSE, the Dow Jones, and the Nikkei. They are all in the positive territory. Fortunately, also, the FTSE jumped to a two-month high on Tuesday as oil stocks bounced back following a bullish comment on the sector by brokerage and news that OPEC Plus members were not discussing an oil output increase. The U.S. stocks Dow Jones in the same vein also rose, while U.S. Treasury yields fell as investors awaited release of the Federal Reserve's meeting minutes for clues on U.S. interest rates and as China's COVID restrictions weighed on sentiment. That's why the Japan stocks Nikkei is recording a 0.61% increase. That's all on stock market reports. Back to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Abisola, for that update. And on the foreign scene, President Volodymyr Zelensky has appealed to Ukrainians to conserve energy amid relentless Russian strikes that have halved the country's power capacity, as the United Nations health body warned of a humanitarian disaster in Ukraine this winter. Authorities have said millions of Ukrainians, including those in the capital Kyiv, could face power cuts at least until the end of March due to the missile attacks. Temperatures have been unseasonably mild in Ukraine this autumn, but are starting to dip below zero and are expected to drop to minus 20 degrees Celsius or even lower in some areas during the winter period. Lionel Messi said Argentina's stock loss to Saudi Arabia was a very heavy blow, but vowed the South American champions would bounce back from the defeat. Seven-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi scored the only goal of the match for his side through a penalty in the first 10 minutes of the match. However, Saudi Arabia stunned Lionel Messi's Argentina on Tuesday, defeating the two-time winners 2-1 in one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history. The Group C opener is the first time Argentina would be losing their opening game at the World Cup since 1990. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Green Day. Bye for now.